So are you saying that 7 billion people currently is too much? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think that we're doing okay. Post nuclear apocalypse, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the world would look like then.
Oh, so you obviously think some people should die then. Literally heard you
Wait, do you
agree.
agree with killing people? Because I said I don't agree with killing people.
Yeah, some people do need to die.
Do you want them to be dead?
Not necessarily. Yeah, I do actually.
John, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. John, how old do you think the Earth is?
6,000 years old.
All right, tell me why.
So you have a misunderstanding of Scripture.
Okay.
Obviously in the beginning, he created heaven and the earth, and man's dwelling on earth started about 6,000 years ago. Prior to that, we existed in heaven as perfect beings.
Yeah, so I was asking how old the Earth is, not how old man is.
So Earth is, as old as, 6,000 years old in man's eyes.
I don't know what that means. Like, how many times do you think the Earth has gone around the sun?
6,000 times.
Okay, so why do you think that?
Well, because that's what Scripture says.
Well, it doesn't really say that, right? You kind of have to infer that from the text and from various ages and things like that.
You can interpret that, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, but like clearly there are people who interpret it otherwise, right?
Sure, but they're wrong.
How do you determine who's wrong and who's right in this situation?
Well, because if you're not abiding by Scripture, where Scripture, gives you something that you can estimate, and you're going and you're saying, "Hey, that's not true. We're gonna use a rock and date it, and that's how we're gonna determine how old the planet is." You're wrong. And actually, science is actually realizing how wrong they are.
Right. So look, I guess my point is there are Christians who take the Bible very seriously, who think that the Earth is billions of years old. So what makes them wrong and you right?
Well, they've been influenced by science, and that's.
Maybe, but if they're able to make sense of this with their Christian faith, how does that mean that you're right and they're wrong?
Like I just told you, they got influenced by science.
That doesn't make them wrong, though.
Yes, it does.
Being influenced by science makes you wrong?
If I just told you, right? If I just told you the science community is wrong, then obviously I believe Christians who believe the science community are also wrong.
Right, but I mean, like, surely you don't think that all science is wrong?
Well, I mean, we're not talking about that.
Well, so then, like, being influenced by science isn't necessarily a bad thing, is it?
It can be, absolutely.
How do you determine when it's a bad thing?
When it comes to disrupting your faith, yeah.
But it doesn't disrupt their faith. They're still just as Christian. If
the Bible gives you an estimation, if it's putting you in a ballpark, and you're saying,
it doesn't, though, right?
Well, it does. It does put you in a ballpark. And you're saying, oh, that's wrong. I'm going to say it's much, much older.
I mean, but it doesn't, though, right? Because, for example, people use the verse. You're familiar with the verse, like, what is it? Like a day is like 1,000 years to God or something like this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So people take that verse to understand that the way that God thinks about time is not the way that we think about time. And given that, then, the creation of man, the creation of the earth, could have been over a much different period of time than as described in Genesis 1.
Well, we're going by God time, and in God time, it's
God time might be it might have only taken 6 days, but for the amount of times the Earth went around the sun, it might have been 4.5 billion times.
But that's your worldly interpretation. If we're going by the time that heaven has already mandated, then it's 6,000 years old. And
so what I'm asking is, how many times do you think the Earth has gone around the sun?
And I told you 6,000 times.
Right, and so, but that doesn't mean that 6,000 times around the sun is how long it takes for 6,000 God years to take place, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, not necessarily.
So it could be that the first 6 days of creation actually took 13.8 billion years, right?
No.
13.8 billion of Earth years, if you want to call it.
No.
Why is that not possible?
You know, the mathematics exist, right? They exist, and they say that, hey, it could have taken 6,000 years for all of this to happen in our time too.
How do you figure? What mathematics? I thought we weren't allowed to rely on science.
Well, God invented math.
God invented math?
Yeah.
I don't really know what that means. But look, what I'm getting at is that there are ways to understand the Bible that treat the Bible as true while also coming to the conclusion that the Earth is billions of years old.
It's not at all.
Well, so then the question is why? So look, there are two different interpretations. One is that the Earth is 6,000-ish years old. The other is that the Earth is billions of years old. How do you determine which interpretation is correct?
We go by Scripture.
But the thing you're trying to determine is which interpretation of Scripture is correct. So you can't rely on Scripture to tell you which interpretation is correct, because you're interpreting Scripture.
Are you a Christian?
No.
Are you formally a Christian?
No.
Are you Jewish?
Yes. Well, kind of.
Okay. And so how do you, in your mind, as a Jewish person, reading the Torah, and you say, hey, that's not true. How do you rationalize that?
Well, I don't think that the Bible is literally true.
Why would you think that?
Because there are things that it says that are false.
And what things did it say?
For example, it says that plants existed before the sun did. It says that flying animals, birds, existed before land animals did. Those are both not true.
Yes, it is.
We have evidence that says it's not.
We have evidence to say that's true.
What's the evidence that says it's true?
I mean, we had plants in the ocean.
That doesn't answer my question. What's the evidence that says plants existed before the sun did?
We have plants that don't even need sun.
That doesn't answer my question. What's the evidence that says that plants existed before the sun did?
And there's science that says...
Can you answer the question?
Well, I'm telling you, I'm giving you your answer in your language, the language of science.
Yeah, what's the evidence?
And the science says that, rocky planets actually form quicker than the sun does.
Okay, can you cite your source for that, please?
Well, I don't have a source, but I've read that before.
Where have you read it?
Maybe in Science Magazine, for sure.
In Science Magazine, your claim is that rocky planets form before the sun is? I don't think that's true.
Yes,
I don't think that's true. Oh,
it is
okay.
True.
So surely, if I Google, do the planets form before the sun does? It'll say yes.
Yeah, I mean, you think of...
Okay, let's Google. Did the planets form before the sun did? Now, I don't love the AI overview, but it gives a quick answer, and it usually has pretty good sources. So let's just take a look really quick. Just a real brief look as to what it says. So I just Googled, did the planets form before the sun did? Answer, no. The sun and the planets formed at roughly the same time from a single cloud of gas and dust.
That's
with
not
the sun
true.
forming in the center first and the planets forming shortly after in a disk around it.
That's not true.
On what grounds do you think it's not true?
It said roughly the same time. Roughly the same time is not the exact same time.
And yeah, it says roughly the same time with the sun forming in the center first and the planets forming shortly around it.
No, you think... I assume you're a smart person. I want you to think.
Well, wait a minute, but hold on. You said that if I Googled this, it would say, yeah, the planets did form before the sun, but it didn't say that.
You're reading AI, so...
Okay, well, do you want to look instead at, like, Wikipedia? Is Wikipedia okay?
Well, I just want to say this.
Unless you have some better source that makes the claim that you're trying to make.
I just want you to think about it. I mean, can you think, right, that a huge sun would form before a small planet?
Yes. Because in order for the planet to form, you first need the accretion disk to form.
You don't need that.
Yeah, that's how planets form in the first place.
No, it's not.
They form via accretion disks, yeah.
That's totally not true. I mean, you already have the gravity in the area, and the gravity brings the rocks together. Yeah.
Here, let me show you something.
Go ahead.
Formation of the planets. The various planets are thought to have formed from the solar nebula, the disk-shaped cloud of gas and dust left over from the sun's formation. The currently accepted method by which the planets formed is accretion, in which the planets began as dust grains in orbit around the central protostar through direct contact, blah, 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 blah. Importantly, the disk-shaped cloud of gas and dust left over from the sun's formation. That's the accretion disk.
Well, that's an accepted theory.
Yeah,
It's not
that is
necessarily
the
true.
accepted understanding. So do you
But it's
have
not-
some better reason to think
But
otherwise?
you're saying you're talking as if it's a definitive. It's not.
Well, that is the scientific consensus. Are we just doing science denial now?
Yeah, but we don't accept the scientific consensus.
Okay, so just to be clear, you're just fine being just doing science denial then.
Well, and you're fine doing Torah denial and Bible
Yeah.
denial, which is crazy,
I don't believe in God. So
and that's insane because the evidence is everywhere.
okay, so to be clear, if I present you scientific evidence that, the Earth is more than 20,000 years old, like, for example, radiometric dating, ice core samples, tree ring cores, or tree ring chronologies, coral reef growth rings, if I present you these things, would this be evidence that the Earth is older than 20,000 years old?
Not necessarily.
Oh, so what do you think evidence is?
Well, it's not necessarily evidence. It's a theory, right?
Sorry, I would be presenting you with data. I don't know what evidence is except data.
But even data is a theory, is it not?
Data is not a theory, no. That's a category
is.
error.
It is a theory.
That's a category error.
I mean, all of this is man-made. No, that's not necessarily real. So
What's man-made? The coral is man-made? The
that is-
ice cores are man-made? The
that
tree
is-
rings are man-made?
your interpretation is man-made, absolutely.
So do we agree that, trees grow roughly one ring a year?
Some grow faster than that.
Oh, can you tell me about which trees grow more than one ring a year?
Well, I mean, you have, I don't know. You have trees
So
that
then
grow
why'd you
fast.
say it?
I'm telling you, you have trees that grow fast and trees that grow
Growing
slower.
fast and growing slow doesn't say anything about how often they grow rings. A ring is
Yeah, it
not a
does.
certain amount of distance. No, a ring is a growth period.
Yeah, which can be shorter or
Growth
quicker,
periods are seasonal, right?
No, it isn't. Not necessarily.
That's what causes tree rings, seasonal growth periods.
I mean, they can grow quicker or they can grow slower. I'm telling you.
The,
You know that's
the,
true.
the
You
rate
know
of
it's
growth
true.
the rate of growth determines the size of the tree ring.
Of course.
It doesn't determine how many tree rings in a given year are grown.
You don't understand what you're saying, and that's clear.
I don't
right?
think you do. I'm pretty
I'm
sure I
saying
know what
you-
I'm talking about. I don't think you
No.
understand what I'm saying.
No, I'm telling you that.
Like you understand that a tree ring is just a differential in growth rate, right?
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying at the rate that they grow.
The rate at which the
quicker.
tree rings grow?
Yeah, they can be quicker or they can be, take longer. That's what I'm telling you.
On what grounds do you think that that's the case?
Well, I mean, just by the fact that, not all trees have the same biology.
So are you just going because it seems right?
Yeah.
So there are specific trees that are frequently used for tree ring growth because these trees are the kinds of trees that, or for tree ring dating.
Well, you didn't say that.
Because these trees live in places with seasonal climates. They're I don't think bamboo has growth rings, by the way, because bamboo just grows the whole time. I don't think that there's a dry season really. But the point is we can use tree rings to figure out how old things are. Surely you don't disagree with that.
You didn't say a specific tree. You were saying trees.
No,
in general.
there are certain trees that are better used for dendrochronology because they exist in places that have seasonal growth or that have seasonal growth patterns. Like you'll have a wet season and a dry season, for example.
So are you conceding the point?
Sorry, can you repeat it?
Are you conceding the point?
What point?
The point that I said that, trees have different rates of growth, and you're saying no, but then you changed your mind and said.
So there are
well,
some trees that don't have
specific-
growth rings.
Well, okay then.
That I would
well,
believe.
So you have
But
to
that wasn't
concede
my
the
claim,
point.
and that wasn't your claim either.
Well, no, you said trees in general grow at the same rate, and I'm telling you, no, that's not true.
I didn't say that trees grow at the same rate. I would have never said that.
And then you said, oh, well, specific trees
Well, specific trees have growth rings. Not all trees have growth rings, right?
Okay, then. Well, so you have to concede your point.
Concede what point? That you can still use growth rings to figure out how old things are, because growth rings are yearly.
Look, you think you're more intelligent than I am, but I went to UC.
Yeah.
Okay. What school did you go to?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Okay, then. Probably some community college.
I have a PhD, if that means anything.
You went to community college, and you probably went to some state school. And,
I have a PhD, if that means anything.
That doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything. Okay, got it.
Yeah, it means you wasted your time and your money.
It didn't cost me anything, actually. When you get a PhD in STEM, it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, but you still spend some money.
Spend some money on what?
On lodging and food and
They pay you. They pay you to get the PhD.
Well, yeah, I mean, they pay you to do that, but you know, you wasted your time.
So are you telling me that I spent money to live? Like, you're
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
I did spend money to buy food and pay rent. Like, yeah, that's a thing that everybody does. Or maybe pay a mortgage if you have a house.
But what I'm saying is you wasted your time.
No, it definitely wasn't a waste of time.
Yeah, it was, because, I mean, you clearly
I know a lot now. And, you know, I get to do what I love. So, you know, definitely wasn't a waste of time. This seems like a deflection, though. John,
I'm not deflecting.
Look, the point is, you're definitely deflecting. The point is that there's overwhelming scientific evidence that says that the Earth is older than, say, 20,000 years old. So my question is, what do you do with all that?
Oh, you say, you know, that's man's mistake, and, you ignore it.
So what are the odds that all of the evidence agrees that it's older than 20,000 years old? What are the odds of that?
It's wrong.
That wasn't my question. What are the odds? What are the odds that they're all wrong in the same way?
100%. Those are the odds.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this. Imagine that you're taking here we go. So imagine that you are giving a multiple choice test to a bunch of students, right?
Right.
So you're giving a multiple choice test, and on question 1, there's 4 options, A, B, C, or D. The correct answer is A. But all of your students, all 20 of them, they all mark C. Now, what are the odds that they would all mark the same wrong answer?
Well, if they cheated, for sure.
Sure. So so that still doesn't answer my question. But the point is, it's fine. I understand what you're trying to say. The point is if they're all wrong in the exact same way, then that points to there being some sort of explanation for why they're all wrong in the exact same way. Because otherwise, the odds of that happening are very, very low.
Well,
so what is the explanation for why all of the scientific evidence is wrong in the exact same way?
Well, first of all, man hasn't even been around long enough to.
Can you answer my question, please?
I am answering your question.
You're going to give me an explanation for why all of the science is wrong in the same way?
Exactly.
Okay, please.
Because man hasn't been around long enough to get a bearing on what's right and what's wrong outside of Scripture. And so, you got these bigwigs, telling you that, hey, this is exactly how the Earth formed, and this is exactly how tree rings work. It's not true.
Okay, so the explanation is that humans haven't been around for very long, and that there's bigwigs telling everybody to lie?
Yeah.
Do you have evidence for this global conspiracy that you're proposing?
Yeah. There's an agenda at work, right?
Yeah, what's the evidence for this global conspiracy?
And so, you have depopulation.
Sorry, what does the age of the Earth have to do with depopulation?
It has everything to do with it.
Okay. So what's the evidence that there is this global conspiracy of bigwigs telling people to lie about the age of the Earth?
They're telling you that the Earth is billions of years old, and now they're telling you this is the worst time the planet has ever been. It's the worst conditions ever been in because of people.
Do you think that these are the same people?
Absolutely.
So the people who are telling you that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old, these are physicists. The people who are telling you about the climate, those are climatologists. These are different people, right?
But they collude together.
I've literally never worked with a climatologist before.
Well, that's you.
I'm a physicist.
That's you.
So,
That's you specifically.
can you give me
That's not
examples of like climatologists colluding with physicists?
I just gave you one.
No, you gave me a conspiracy that you think is true. I want like an actual example of this happening.
Are you familiar with Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Sure. Acclaimed
You know-
non-physicist.
Every now and then, he'll get on TV, and he's a astronomer or whatever he is, and he talks
He's a
about
science popularizer, by the way.
Well, I'm sure he has a degree in something, right? But
Yeah, but a degree doesn't make you that job, right?
well,
it's
it
an
means you have a
occupation, right?
certain level of expertise, does it not?
Sure.
Okay, and so, well, besides PhDs, of course, but and then he goes and he talks about climate
Yep.
because he's just pushing the agenda. He's pushing the agenda that people are making the planet worse.
Sorry,
and that
so
we need to-
I was asking for examples of physicists colluding with climate scientists.
and that's one.
Oh, so where's the collusion? It just sounds like he was saying something. Collusion
Or-
usually involves more than one person.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm sure when you were growing up, did you ever watch the Discovery Channel?
Yeah, the Discovery Channel is great.
Yeah, and then you had plenty of people on there that were physicists and climate people. They were all colluding on this whole big climate agenda.
Can you give me any examples?
Well, I mean, there was a period in time where that was nothing that you saw.
I don't know what that sentence meant. There's a period in time where that was nothing that you saw. What does that mean?
Well, that was all that you saw is what I meant to say.
You saw physicists colluding with climate. So, like, give me an example. Like, I don't think that this is a thing that actually happened.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you that it did happen, right? And because
I mean, what is this? Just trust me, bro? Like,
well, no, I'm telling you that there were times where you would watch TV and there would be, a physicist talking about, the age of the planet, and then some climate guy will come on there, some nut would say, the planet is warming, global warming. It was global warming.
so
Before
how,
that,
so how are they colluding? This the physicist is talking about the physics. The climatologist is talking about the climate. That doesn't mean that they're colluding.
it was the ozone layer. Now it's global warming. Now it's climate change. They're
It
all
doesn't
just
seem like you're addressing the question. Look,
I am
you're
addressing the
asserting a global conspiracy amongst climate scientists and, I guess, physicists. Do you know when we figured out how old the Earth was? That it was around 4.5 billion years old. Do you know how long ago that was figured out?
when you thought
Do you know how long ago that was figured out?
it was figured out.
Do you know how long ago this very first study was published?
I can't tell you because I don't know.
It was in the 1950s. I think it was either late 50s or early 60s, right? So back then, climate change wasn't even a thought in anybody's mind, right? So why would they have published this if they were colluding with climate scientists that didn't exist?
There are world orders older than some countries.
That doesn't address my question.
Yes, it does. The Freemason Society.
Okay, so are you telling me that you have
Rosicrucians-
reason to believe that the person who published this first paper claiming that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old was a Freemason?
Yes, all the founders of this country were Masons. What are you talking about? Yes.
The founder of the country wasn't one of the scientists who published this paper.
Doesn't
Let
matter.
me go find the
I'm telling
author
you.
of the paper.
They all collude. This goes back centuries.
I don't think you know what you're talking about.
I absolutely know what I'm talking
So the
about.
person that we're talking about was actually a chemist, not a physicist, turns out. Their name is Claire C. Patterson. So you believe that you have reason to think that Claire C. Patterson was a member of a secret society?
All of them
Okay,
were.
do you have any evidence for this?
Yes.
Okay, what's the evidence?
That's just how prevalent it was back then. To be a Freemason, to be a Rosicrucian.
What do you mean back then? This was in the 50s.
Yeah, even then.
So what do you mean back then? What time period are you referring to?
The 1950s. And
Okay, so where is the evidence that he was a Freemason?
Could I just explain something to you, okay?
I imagine you're probably not going to explain anything, but go ahead.
Yes, I am. Can
Make
I
an
just
attempt.
explain? Can I just explain? Here's the real deal. Blitz, right? as soon as they perfect their AI robots, they're not going to need us human slaves anymore, and they're just going to they're just going to annihilate us, right? And they're just going to say, "Oh, it's climate change," and you're sitting here and defending these people, or they're actively plotting our demise, right?
I'm defending geochemists. The geochemists are plotting our demise.
Yes, these people are.
Who do you know what a geochemist is?
Of course, I do.
Okay, tell me what a geochemist is.
A chemist that studies geology. I don't fucking know, but
It's the chemistry of rocks, basically. Why are geochemists particularly plotting our demise? What are you talking about?
you don't. The writing is on the wall. As soon as they perfect AI and these robots, they're not going to need human beings anymore.
Who? The geochemists are perfecting AI?
They're going to say we're a strain on resources.
Is it the geochemists that are perfecting the AI?
They're colluding.
The geochemists are colluding. Where's
colluding.
the evidence of any of this?
It's all over the place. And you know,
present me one concrete piece of evidence, please.
The Guidestones in Georgia.
One concrete piece of evidence.
I just gave you the Guidestones in Georgia.
Okay. When were those built? Do you know?
I don't know.
How do you not know? Do you know anything about them?
Are you familiar with them?
I'm very familiar with them.
Okay, then you should know.
I do know when they were built. Do you know when they were built?
Are you colluding against us as well?
Well, I'm not colluding with anyone because I'm currently having a conversation with you and not somebody else. But yeah, I'm part of the scientific community. So you probably think I am part of some giant conspiracy, which, you have absolutely no reason to believe except that your pastor has lied to you.
No, I'm telling you that scientists and rich people are colluding against poor people like us.
You know, scientists are poor people, right? Like generally?
Well, yeah. Well, some of them are, but
like,
I mean, they're valued.
How much money do you think a grad student makes?
Well, they're valued for their brain, right? For their intelligence, right?
Yeah, so how much money do you think a grad student makes?
Well, probably $30,000 a year.
Yeah, maybe if they're lucky, right? So why would they be colluding against poor people if they're poor people?
Well, I mean, they're not always going to be poor, and they're valued for their
PhD grad students won't always be poor. Grad students are always poor. Now, once they stop being grad students, they might get a job that pays better. Maybe they'll get a job paying $50K a year, maybe $60K a year even.
Well, I just told you this. After they kill us all, there's going to be a society of scientists and rich people and attractive people, and they're going to kill everyone else.
Society of scientists, rich people, and attractive people.
Yeah, that's what they're going to. It's
so
all over.
Are you telling John? Are you telling me that you are poor and dumb? Sorry, poor and ugly.
Well, I'm not to the liking, obviously, right? Even though I went to UC Berkeley. The thing is that you have these people that want nothing but hyper intelligent superhumans, and they don't want us, and they want to keep the population
so
under.
They want people who are not poor and ugly.
Well, no, they want to keep the population under 150,000, and they want nothing but supermodels with big brains and that are strong. And so
and all of this comes from what evidence?
The Georgia Guidestones.
All right. What did the Georgia Guidestones say? By the way, it's Guidestones, not Guiding Stones.
Well, okay.
What did they say on them? Do you know?
Well, they had directions or advice for those that were to survive. Well, I guess not necessarily survive, but these people were already colluding with one another, and they gave directions, and they said,
what does it say?
It said you need to keep the population under 150,000 people.
Oh, did it? Is that really what it said? Are you sure?
Can you correct me if I'm wrong?
Yeah, it was 500 million.
And see that? What do you? I mean, that means billions of people are going to die.
Yeah, and so to be clear, the Guidestones, and I don't really agree with them, but the Guidestones were put up in place by probably just some rich guy. We don't really know who because it was anonymous, but the Guidestones were intended as advice for what would happen after a global nuclear war. It was advice for what the survivors should do after a global nuclear war.
And what do you think that means for us? Right?
Well, what that means is that if there's a global nuclear war and the population goes down to, 10 million, then the advice of keeping the population under 500 million doesn't involve killing off anybody.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't, because everybody's already dead.
It does.
Everybody's already dead.
And you're sitting here defending this, so I
Well,
know
no,
you're
I mean,
part of this.
look. So
You're
if it's
part of this.
so if it was the case, John, if it was the case that say there was a global nuclear war and like only 10 million humans were left alive afterwards, because maybe Russia got mad and China got mad and India got mad and the U.S. got mad, everybody fired their missiles everywhere, right? And only 10 million people were left alive. There would be a few. There'd be a few of these things on the inscription are actually like pretty reasonable. So it says maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Well, what
You think that's reasonable?
Hold on, I wasn't done. What they're saying is if you have 10 million people now, try not to overpopulate, because overpopulation, that uses up resources. That means that more people have fewer. Now, I don't know if I actually agree with that.
You just said it.
To be clear, I don't actually know if I agree with that, but that's at least something that is not, it's not like totally irrational. It also says, for example, for example, unite humanity with a living new language. Oh, so we should all speak the same language? That seems reasonable. It says it says rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. It means, make your governments reasonable. Okay, that seems good. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. That sounds reasonable, right?
This is absolutely insane.
Let all nations rule internally resolved external disputes in a world court. Seems pretty reasonable. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Seems pretty reasonable. Balance personal rights with social duties. Seems pretty reasonable. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Again, seems pretty reasonable. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Again, seems pretty reasonable. So actually, except maybe the population reduction thing, everything on it is pretty reasonable.
That is absolutely insane coming from you. And
so to be clear, you think that protecting people and nations with fair laws and just courts is insane?
No, I just knew that you would agree with these things because.
Do you think that that's insane? Do you disagree with that? That we should protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts?
You just said that 500 million people would be.
I said I disagreed with that, but the rest of it's pretty good.
Not at first. You said, well, it seems like it'd be okay. That's what you said.
If you already have 10 million, then the advice, if you only have 10 million, advice of saying don't go above this amount, that's actually that's not advocating for the murder of anybody, right?
So are you saying that 7 billion people currently is too much? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think that we're doing okay. Post-nuclear apocalypse, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the world would look like then.
Oh, so you obviously think some people should die then. That's what you're saying.
No, I don't think that. But look, do you think that the entirety of the inscription is insane?
Absolutely. What are you talking about?
Okay, so just to be clear, you think that it's insane to protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts? You think it's insane to avoid petty laws and useless officials? I guess you love bureaucracy.
No. The entire.
You think it's insane to balance personal rights with social duties? That's crazy.
The entire inscription is calling for mass genocide.
You think it's insane to leave room for nature?
Yes, it is.
Wild.
Yes, it is.
That's insane. It's crazy. We shouldn't leave nature. We shouldn't leave nature intact. We shouldn't We shouldn't have nature reserves. That's insane.
We have dominion over nature. That's our divine right.
That's insane.
No, it's not.
It is. It is insane.
That's our divine right to have dominion over nature and the beasts of the earth.
I'm sure. Look, so if your evidence for the global cabal is one rich guy put up some random monuments in Georgia that most people have never even heard of, if that's your evidence for a global cabal of geochemists who are trying to trick the people into thinking that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old, I have a bridge I can sell you if you want. It's made of granite.
Let me just explain something to you in the simplest terms, okay? A rich man, and this is part of the group of people that I told you was going to take over after all of this happens, said he put this up, and that's what he said. And then you,
we actually don't know who put it up. It's anonymous.
Well, so we can assume that
you just made it up. You just made that up.
Well, we can assume that this person had the money, can we not?
Maybe.
Okay, then. And then you're also claiming to be some sort of scientist of some sort, and you agree with it. That's exactly what I said.
I don't agree with all of it, but I agree with some of the things on it.
Scientists are going to kill us all.
Well, I agree with some of the things on it. I agree that preserving nature is a good thing. I imagine that you agree with that too.
You agree with killing people.
No, I don't. I actually said I don't agree with that.
That's a sad world because I just literally heard you
Wait, do
agree.
you agree with killing people? Because I said I don't agree with killing people.
Yeah, some people do need to die.
Oh, that's like fucking crazy to say on live. Hello, YouTube. That's like who needs to die there, John?
Plenty of people.
Can you give me an example?
I don't think we want to go there.
I kind of do want to go there, actually. I want to dive into the enigma that is your simple brain.
Simple.
Yeah.
I went to UC Berkeley, actually. So
You're so proud of that. You know it's a state school, right?
Yeah, it is a state school, but it's one of the top universities in the world.
It wasn't when you went.
It was, actually.
I don't know, man.
And
If it was, they wouldn't have admitted you.
Well, I'm a graduate, so thank you. Yeah, we don't have to get into that today.
Okay, so you thought it was okay to say that some people should die, but you're too afraid on live to say who it was, who it should be?
I'm not afraid of anything.
Okay, then tell me. Who do you think? Who deserves it?
Who do I think? Well,
Yeah.
first of all, Indians. Pretty much all of them.
Like, are we talking like Native Americans, or are we talking people from India?
No. We're talking about Indians from India. All of them, every single one of them. I'm sorry. You forced me into saying it, but I didn't really want to say it. And then, if we're gonna go that route, then
That's like the wildest racism I've ever heard. This is crazy.
Well, it's not racism.
Well, I mean, it kind of is. You're saying like, yeah, the Indians should be dead. Like,
I mean, they're
that's
killing
kind of
themselves.
racism.
They're killing themselves.
That's not what you said. You said that they should be dead.
Yeah, they should be.
Racism. So we're doing racism.
It's not racism. I don't.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm sorry. I thought that you were against genocide.
Well, mass genocide.
How many Indians do you think there are?
Billions.
Okay, so would you say that the death of billions of people would be mass genocide?
Not necessarily.
What do you think the word mass means?
Well, if you're killing, 90% of the world population.
Oh, so like it would have been fine if the Georgia Guidestones said maintain humanity under 6 billion people?
No.
Oh, because is that mass genocide?
No.
Oh, but you want the population under that.
Well, some populations should not exist, is what I'm saying.
Which is like clearly like a sign of straight mental illness, right?
No. That's based on evidence, actually.
Oh, it's based on evidence that Indians should be dead. This is like crazy.
No, I mean, there's some.
This is the most psychotic, like Hitler mustache wearing nonsense I've heard in a long time.
I'm just saying they pollute, and they're inbred.
I thought that we had dominion over the earth, Nazi.
I'm not a Nazi, first of all.
I mean, I don't know, man. Walks like a duck, hiles like a duck.
I mean, did I say Jews? I didn't say Jews, did I? I didn't say that.
You can be a Nazi and not be particularly hateful about the Jews.
Okay, well.
Oh my God, this is wild.
I'm just saying, specifically Indians and some Arabs.
By the way, for those who are currently considering whether they should convert to Christianity, this is what you have to look forward to: hateful genocide spewing nonsense from idiots like John, who self-admitted that they're ugly and dumb.
I'm a graduate, first of all.
I'm a graduate, first of all. Like. Clearly, you graduated with a degree in genocide.
No, I did not actually. I'm just saying I shouldn't say I'm not advocating for these people to die. I'm saying
you actually did say that they should die. That is advocating for it actually.
I'm saying they should be dead.
That's what advocating is.
No. I'm not saying that people should actively go out and kill them. I'm saying they should already be dead.
Do you want them to be dead?
They should already be dead. Yes.
That doesn't answer my question.
They should already be dead.
Do you want them to be dead?
Not necessarily. Yeah, I do actually.
Oh, so you're advocating for it. Great.
No.
Bye, John. Have fun in hell. Wow. What a great... I've never encountered somebody who just outright says that. That's crazy. Dr.